Hello, everyone. Welcome to Career Theory. We are back with another episode, but this episode is a very special episode. In this episode, we are going to talk about somebody special, which is my co host is going to sit in the chair of a guest seat, and we are going to dive deep into his journey, his progress, his progression. There is a reason why he is called as a pace setter. Let's hear from Bharat directly. Welcome, Bharat. Welcome to Career Theory.
Oh, thank you so much, Sai. That was so sweet. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I am excited, and it is different being a guest versus co-host because now you will be asking me all those questions. So yeah, I'm super excited for this. So yeah.
Absolutely. So to briefly introduce for our audience of the Career Theory, can you describe where you started and what does it looks like when you were growing up?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I'll just talk about how my whole journey was with respect to where I started. And my dad was in army, and during my childhood, I got to be in different states across India. So every 4 years, we used to move to a different place because we had to be with our dad. And that actually was one of the things which also helped me in long term, because every time I used to uproot myself and move to a different place, it was a really challenging situation for me to have those grades, make new friends, get all over again from the start. And it always used to initially feel like this is so toxic, this is exhausting. But I think that's what made me what I am today. And there were so many things my dad taught during that journey, which kept those learnings even today really strong for me. And I can actually relate it to now, because every time I meet new proximity, I don't feel any different. I feel as if I know them for a long time, because I think I was able to build that resilience towards new network. I was initially shy when I was growing up. That went out. I'm still shy sometimes, depending on where I am, but that actually opened up my comfort zone. And I was able to be out of my comfort zone too many times that it made me who I am today.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think with respect to my career, I was good. Practically, if any student would consider me, they would think that I'm really good. But theoretically, I was not the best student. I had not had a lot of grades which, are competitive enough during my undergrad. I'm just talking about my undergrad.
Mhm.
I used to have fun. I used to be out learning about real life, practical life
Mhm.
versus believing in the theory.
Mhm.
And because of which, I also was in a situation where I was not able to crack interviews only because they
Mhm.
never let me enter the interview room thinking that there is a cap for this kind of job, which is related
Mhm.
to grade instead of related to your skills. And
Mhm.
that actually blocked me initially a lot from getting the best job out there. Instead of that, I used to be like, you have to wait in the line for a longer period.
Wow.
So those again helped me
Mhm.
make the best life out of it.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think I've done a lot of fun things in my career. My whole resume looks a lot chaotic because of the kind of projects I did. I was a project manager initially. Then I switched my gears towards development because I wanted to learn. I always thought it's important for me to learn 360-degree view of the business,
Mhm.
because I felt like there is something which I can add a lot of value once I know more about everything that is going in and out in an organization.
Mhm.
And that's why I switched myself to development area. And I also learned that, and there are a few more things within my career which I focused on.
Mhm.
And that gives me that entrepreneur skill where I can start my own business,
Mhm.
because I know I've been through all these kind of different domains within an organization.
Mhm.
And today I'm happy with my career. There are things yet to uncover, and I'm working towards it. But that's about my quick journey. And definitely, I could talk more about how I cracked those communication skills and everything. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sounds good. Sounds good. It sounds like you had a very exciting journey. Like nowadays, with the COVID and everything, even though people are stuck in their homes, they wanted to travel. But as a kid, you travel to so many different places. While traveling to so many different places, you learn the skill of how to make new friends, and you really understood how to be at different places, even though sometimes they're uncomfortable. You really had an advantage as a kid, as a child, going through the difficult times at that point of time. Probably now, when you look back, you would be like, wow, everything
Yes.
was like, everyone was dreaming. Now I had such a wonderful life. But as a kid, yeah, moving on with new friends, making new friends is challenging, but absolutely, I can truly understand where you are coming from. With
Mm.
that, let me touch base a little bit on your journey at your colleges,
Yes.
and where you are like catching all those fireflies.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, with respect to my college age, like I said, I was not really, I never believed that grades are more important to be successful versus there are skills, there are street skills that you need to learn well so that you can become better in whatever field you do. I'll give you one small example of, let's say if I go to a shop and my native language is Telugu or Hindi is what I speak very fluently because of my army background. But whenever I go to a shop or anywhere I need to purchase something, I would be able to do it very easily because I was using my native language as
Mhm,
the medium to have that communication channel going on. But I was put in a situation when I was, I think, in my 10th class, 10th grade,
mhm,
where I was supposed to present myself with a topic in front of another 50 students
mhm,
and on stage. And that's where something called stage fear came into my life. And I was prepared. I had a whole paper, big paper worth topic. But imagine what? As soon as I got onto the stage, I never looked at the paper. I was crushing the paper in my hand behind so that no one looks at it. But I was not even able to say few words
mhm,
because now I'm talking in a language which is non-native to me, English. And even though we talk a lot during our childhood in English, but when it comes to presenting yourself in English,
mhm,
you're not confident. And also stage fear kicks in because if I said this, how would they react?
mhm,
Why should I even be talking about it? Won't they judge? Like those opinions, all those things bothered me. And that's the day when I went back home.
mhm,
It made me feel terrible that I was not able to present myself, even though I felt like I'm way good in all the other areas. And that's the day I decided I wanted to focus more on communication.
mhm,
I want to be able to presentable because, like I said, if I'm able to talk well in my native language,
mhm,
that's something I wanted to crack down. That if I learn English as my main communication channel,
mhm,
I can present myself well. I can communicate the smallest idea very well so that the other person can understand it easily. And that was my goal, even undergrad. Like I said, why I talked about this whole story was
mhm,
during my undergrad, like I said, I didn't believe in theoretical knowledge versus I believed more about practical knowledge, learning,
mhm, mhm,
communication, soft skills. Those were my, and when I went to interviews, this is a story very few people know in my life, which is there was a phase where I was not able to go through that interview, like I said, because of the grades cap. 70% is the cap. I had maybe
mhm,
something just like little less than that, so I would not be allowed. And I wanted to understand how to crack this whole system so that
mhm,
I land a really good. What I did next was something I really feel changed my life. and it was nothing but learning how to communicate well. And those days we never had those coaches. Even if they were coaches, they were really expensive. I couldn't afford them at that point of time. So I asked my friend to give me his hard disk, which had like close to 300 plus English movies and a lot of good content which I could learn from. And I started watching those movies all over again, just not to entertain myself,
Mhm.
but to be able to learn those skills. Because when you see an actor, everyone loves an actor. Why? Because they're able to present themselves really well. They have those soft skills which are charming, and you cannot take your eyes off of that screen.
Mm.
And that's what I wanted for
Mm.
myself. And I thought this is the best platform for me to use those free resources which are available right in front of me. So I
Mhm.
used to make a lot of notes, lots of notes using those movies, and then go every single day for next 3 months. I went to at least close to 100 interviews,
Mhm.
not to crack the interview or not to get the job, basically,
Mhm.
to crack the interview, but not to get the job. And every time I went, I came back with one challenge, that this is where I failed. This is where I failed. This is what the round I could not go. So
Mhm.
in India, it's something like personal interview round, then group discussion, then something on a topic you would talk for like a jam session. So those are the things I realized that they were more important than technically being strong, having that grade in your pocket. So I used to come back, I used to make notes next day, learn from those movies and use those sentences, use those skills from that actor in front of an interviewer.
Mhm.
And guess what? After 100 interviews, I landed so many, but I never picked one. But there were really good opportunities, big four companies, and I chose to work at a really big company at that point of time, which changed my career because of the managers, the good leaders around me, and whoever I am is because of very few people in that area. But that was the journey, and I
Mhm.
realized the importance of communication and soft skills at a very young age is what I feel.
Mhm.
And I've been continuing to do that for rest of the career, as well as I'm sure I'll do that for rest of my life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it sounds for the audience to reiterate, you started with something that you thought are so comfortable in your native language speaking at a informal setting, but the moment you went onto a stage you realized there is something called as a stage fear, and it looks like a big monster at that point of time. And that
Yes.
stage fear, from that stage fear you did not back down, and you used that stage fear as an opportunity and you wanted to conquer that. Then you stepped into the zone of learning the other languages. Not only you are not like stuck up on one single language, but you wanted to use that opportunity to learn or improve in the languages. To learn or improve in those languages, it could be English or it could be any other language, you chose what is freely available at that point of time, which is the movies.
Mm.
And you used a tool called notes taking. You were watching a movie and you were taking notes as they were doing different things, like the soft skills, the way they speak, and every other soft skill in that movies that we don't generally see outside in the real world.
Correct.
You started taking those notes from those movies and you took that notes to your job interviews. You
Yes.
went to the job interviews, a lot of the job interviews, just to see how I can apply these soft skills that I learned as part of my notes into my jobs, my job setting. And then once you started seeing these job, you are able to crack these job interviews. Once you're getting selected in those jobs, it gave me the confidence that I can leverage on a resource which is freely available, and I can put my mind and my will in the form of a book, and then I can apply that. Whatever that is working, whatever that is not working, you are going back to the movies. So you created like a self applicable cycle where you are able to use that as a feedback loop to improve yourself. That is probably, I would say, mind blowing.
Thank you. And while you were saying that, I just remembered one of the movies which had a really hard impact on me was The Pursuit of Happiness.
Mhm.
And that one movie is also powerful enough. You watch it several times, you can crack anything. It doesn't matter, not just only career, but there are so many aspects where it helps. So yeah, I think I was lucky enough to figure be able to figure it out at that point of time. But it was something, like I said, I was put into a situation, a
Mhm.
circumstance. I
Mhm.
want to solve that problem for myself, and eventually now I think I want to create the same for everyone around me, so that they can also see it clearly that one of the important thing that can help you is communication. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think you figured out it early as maybe because of all the travel that you have done,
Yes.
or the circumstances that you went through. But overall, that is brilliant. I never heard anyone who is using movies, taking input and applying to interviews. Probably, if any of the audience is listening to it, this is one of the brilliant soft skill that you can apply in your career if you wanted to really learn from. It's not
Awesome.
about speaking in English. It is not about speaking with confidence. It is all about your capability or your willingness to take the notes and create a feedback loop so that you are learning something new, applying it, see if it is working, then you're coming back. It is a energy driven. It is a lot of work, it sounds like at the beginning, but as you have, since you have done so many number of times, probably it became like a natural habit for you by now.
Yes, absolutely. Now, if I watch a movie, my mind is always making notes, and I know I want to use that particular sentence in my real life because it's really powerful. Sometimes these actors say something very small but impactful,
Mhm.
and that's, I think, a really powerful tool for anyone to leverage, and it's freely available, like you said. So yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Now, along with the movies, is there any other source or a resource that you would use to expand your knowledge or to expand your world vision?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So one of the things which I wanted to definitely touch is reading,
Mhm.
and as well as the other thing would be soft skills coach.
Mhm.
And I think those change once you learn the depth,
Mhm.
like in-depth knowledge about how reading can elevate you.
Mhm.
And also, luckily I had a soft skills coach at a point where I started working in the IT, and I'm really grateful to have had gone through that experience, because soft skills is about using gestures, learning to write well, reading well, speaking well, listening, which is the
Mhm.
most vital
Mhm.
tool for anyone who wants to learn anything. The first thing you need to do is be able to listen well,
Mhm.
adapt, and then reflect back. And coming back to reading, I always felt that there are so many amazing humans out there who wrote really good books
Mhm.
out of their own experience, and they went through something challenging throughout their life, and they have written about it in a way that they were able to solve it in format. They followed this routine to help with their life. And
Mhm.
when you can already experience someone else's life through books
Mhm.
and use that for your life to solve your problems, is really powerful. And I used to feel like every time I read a book, it solved my problem, which was hidden somewhere in my consciousness, and I
Mhm.
had to pick it and then solve it automatically. So those came really easily after a point. Yes, initially they were tough, they were
Mhm.
monotonous, they were boring, but once you put this perspective into the mind, which is you are actually learning from experiences of some extraordinary humans,
Mhm.
then it changes the way you want to read. Yeah, I love reading now. So yeah, that's one thing I
Wonderful.
would suggest. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. But let me ask you a question, which is the flip side.
Yes.
Okay. I understand that you never believed in the grades and all of that. I
Hmm.
truly appreciate that
Hmm.
thinking process. But looking at the marketing media that we always see, like somebody can become self-sufficient or they can become a millionaire if they follow this process, if they do that. And it sounds so much that these skills like it could be a soft skill or it could be an interviewing skill, should be learned in a quick minute.
Hmm.
Looking at the media that are the marketing material that we see nowadays.
Hmm.
So is this is only for the not so smart people, or is it for only a category of people? Like the point I wanted to drive is, this is true for everyone, or is this is only true for the people who are not so smart?
That's a really good question. I want to acknowledge that. And like you said, maybe I just need to step back and think. It doesn't matter who is learning those skills, because everyone needs it, irrespective of your particular situation in your life. Let's say you're not smart, which most of the people are not, because they are always smart. They just don't realize what is important at that point of time to learn and be able to adapt to and fix their life and their problems. And even a CEO of a company at times might have become a CEO because of his technical skills or some other skills. But I've known a lot of people, when they come to stage, they don't have that stage presence. They
Mhm.
come to a keynote, they're not able to portray or put their exact words into so easily, so that everyone can understand. So those are the soft skills which everyone can learn, irrespective of where they are in life.
Mm.
And you need to have that open mind
Mm.
for growth, because no matter where you are at, there is always a possibility for you to learn more. I personally had several communication coaches in the past, including a soft skills coach. And
Mm.
just last year, I worked with one of the powerful communication coach. His name is Brendan Kumaraswamy.
Mhm.
And it's never ending. I was part of Toastmasters. I was part of several other things. I never stopped it at a point like I felt, oh, I'm so smart now.
Mhm.
Now I don't need this, because I think that's not the best thing to do with yourself, because there is a lot to learn. Every
Mhm.
time you go to a different place, different coach, there are things you would learn completely, which before, like, which you would not have learned before. And
Mhm.
it's for everyone, it's for every single human on the earth. If they want to communicate well, become better, be able to project themselves, that is one skill that you need to master.
Mhm.
And it's a lifelong journey for everyone, doesn't matter where you are in your life.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Now, from here, let me shift gears and talk about your communication journey.
Mhm.
Why do you think, for someone who is born with all these, let's say someone is born in America, they would have this communication as the being English, they'll be able to speak in English fluently. They don't have to learn anything. Then why should they even focus on communication? And why do you think someone should have a coach? They can learn from a YouTube video, or they can talk to someone of their friend and they can learn the communication. Why should they even spend time with a coach? What does the coach adds to?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a challenging question. I myself have asked me several times, that there are everything available online freely. Why would I need a coach? But it changed after I actually worked with a coach. And I'll tell you why, because there are skills you can learn from those YouTube videos and freely available resources, but you cannot get the feedback.
Mhm.
You can learn in front of your, like, watch a mirror and make a video of yourself. You will be able to learn somewhat because of your own thinking, your own way of, or your own level of skills. You mark, this is 5, this is 10. But when someone who's a master in
Mhm.
communication
Mhm.
comes into picture, and they tell you that's not the way you need to communicate, and you will actually identify a lot of feedback that comes through them,
Mhm.
is really powerful. And not just that, like, I was working on preparing a keynote.
Mhm.
I am running out of ideas because my mind is always telling me 1,000 different things about what my purpose could be, what my ideas could be. But when you work with a coach, they're asking you questions which are really important,
Mhm.
and getting that real purpose out of you.
Mhm.
And if you want to prepare for a keynote, if you want to prepare for that 5-minute speech, like I said, in my 10th grade, I couldn't even talk because I
Mhm.
had the notes ready, but they were not effective. not impactful. That's why I was scared to even talk. But a communication coach knows A to Z about communication, and he would be able to share his exact feedback, which is critical, sometimes critical feedback as well,
Mhm.
so that you can learn from that and become better. And yeah, I feel it's really important to have that open mind, like I said, open
Mhm.
mindset, to
Mhm.
experience that. Because for me, when I experienced working with a coach,
Mhm.
is nothing like those free resources available. It was way beyond. There is no limit to how much I can express to that, how it helped me elevate my career for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Sounds good. So to reiterate for the listeners or the audience, by having a coach, they'll be able to see the areas that we don't see by ourselves, the 360-degree view versus if we leverage on the
Correct.
technology might be, there is a place in life where the technology can help,
Mm,
and where if we need to repeat it, we can leverage on the technology. But if we have to have the 360-degree view, it is
mm.
important to have a coach because we are not talking to walls or the books, or we are
Correct.
not in real life. A human is talking to another human. Another
Yeah.
human can only say the way we are saying is the way they are feeling.
Yes.
And it is easy if we have a coach who has undergone through similar kind of scenarios versus a friend who may not have the expertise at the same level that you wanted to grow at.
Exactly, exactly. And I think that's a good point. I wanted to add an analogy there where, for example, you can, your parents, most of the times, parents, your immediate proximity, your family, friends, know a little about how their life was because of the experiences they had.
Mhm.
And personally, if you ask them about communication or anything other than what they learned throughout their experience,
Mhm.
they'll not be able to give you the right answer. They'll be able to give you what they went through, and there is a limit to it.
Mhm.
They will feel that there is a limit to it which you can learn from. But when you go to people who have unlimited capabilities and they have achieved something beyond in communication area or any area,
Mhm.
that is an unlimited space where you can learn and grow
Mhm.
without any limit. So there is no limiting belief anymore. So that's something, I felt like I should definitely bring it up.
Absolutely. So the last question is more about, it looks like you touched upon communication, which is one of the core skill for your personal development, and how you leverage the movies to improve your communication. But it sounded more like you are on a journey of personal development.
Yes.
By leveraging on all these techniques and tools, you are on a journey of your own personal development.
Correct.
What How do you think the personal development helps elevates the career development?
Yeah, that's a really tough question because a lot of people have different opinions on it. For me personally, I feel it's as simple as, if you go to a gym on your own and you want to make six packs, you want to build your body without any coach, it'll take at least a year, sometimes even more than that.
Mhm.
But when you have a dedicated personal trainer, a coach, you can actually achieve it within short span of time. And
Mm.
this is proven, this is not hidden from anyone. Same thing when you have goals for your life, with
Mhm.
whether it is related to your career, relationships, health, wealth, whatever it is.
Mm.
There are experts who have made it easy. They have tracked everything down to a level which you follow. Instead of waiting for 10 years for you to become successful, you would actually become successful within a short span of time and conquer all the goals and then move on to next goals. So that is where it is completely different for me, because coach is an expert in an area where I want to become successful, and I
Mhm.
want to join them, learn from them. And like you said, personal development, it is a huge umbrella, and there are so many things we need to do on a regular basis to develop our personality.
Mhm.
And I think that's really what I feel would be the right answer according to me.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So talking about so many things doing on a consistent basis. What is it that you do on a consistent basis, which is giving you the results that you are enjoying now
Yeah,
from
I think
from various areas of life, not only from the career, but this is all about various areas of life as well.
absolutely, absolutely. I think there are so many things which I have learned in the last couple of years working with a lot of masterminds in my groups.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to routine, I have a certain routine I follow every day,
Mm-hmm.
which is definitely helping me a lot. Waking up at 4:30 to 5 a.m.
Wow. Wow.
And there is a group where we message each other as soon as we get up and do
Mm-hmm.
certain activities like workouts, reading, meditating, everything before 6 or 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have never missed a cold shower in last couple of years.
Wow.
And that's actually a really powerful thing for me, because wherever I go, I know I want to be completely present. I know I want to give the person the quality time so that
Mm.
I value their time, they value my time.
Mm.
And that presence comes because of those cold showers, those routines, and I feel more alive throughout the day. And
Mm.
yeah, of course, I work out, I run, I do a lot of other activities, but these are the main things which I completely rely on whenever life is hitting me hard.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Bharat. With that, thank you, Bharat. Thank you for taking time and thank you for joining, taking the seat of the guest today and be vulnerable and show the brilliant way of how you can really leverage on the tools that you can leverage on to go where you wanted to go. However, during this journey, if you want to take the help of anyone, you can
Mm,
ask for that help and the help will be there. Sometimes it
yes.
could be coaches or it could be something else. It could be learning about new technologies or new skills, not necessarily the technologies, new skills, because the world is changing at a rapid pace and the technology is the primary contributor of that change. And having skills that you can take it that are not automatable is very important. And thank you for showing those important pointers. If for the audience, anyone is listening, this is one of those episodes where you need to have your one of your finger on the pause button and another hand with a pen and a book so that you can take notes as you are listening to it, because Bharat is a wonderful example of how taking notes from what you are consuming is more important than consuming the content for the sake of joy and fun. But this is a live example how he used or how he has leveraged the skills or the resources that are available for free towards a career development. Thank you, Bharat, for joining today. And thank you so much for being on the hot seat for today. Thank
Oh,
you.
absolutely. And I really love the experience and I want everyone to definitely follow us. I know I'm guest today. It's a wonderful journey we are going to be part of. And thank you so much, Sai, for giving me this opportunity. And we will be sharing a lot of good content. So I want everyone to be tuned into this for the journey with us. So thank you so much. Thank you. I'm grateful. I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bharat.